All right. Mic check. I'm good. So I'm Max Ceron. Ceron, CWB Association Welding podcast. Podcast. Today we have a really cool guest. Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and as always, I am trying to find the best stories in the world for you. Today, I have a wonderful guest coming to us from Sudbury, Ontario. We have Jessica Duquette, which I'm sure it's wrong because it looks French. It's probably like Ducey or Duquet or something like that. And Jessica, how's it going today?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me on the show today.
Good. So what is the right way of saying your last name?
The correct way would be Duquette, but nobody says that because it's actually like a Quebec name. So Duquette or Duquette is fine.
Duquette.
Don't worry about it.
Well, I'm trying to learn. You know, like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I need to learn to speak French. I have it on Duolingo. I'm trying to do my thing here, but it's taken me a long time.
It's all good.
So, Jessica, you're out in Sudbury, Ontario, and I see here that you are a millwright.
Yes, I am. I've been working towards this since I was 18, actually. So I've been working at it for 5-6 years now. So I'm actually so happy where I am now in life compared to obviously like 5 or 6 years ago. But yeah, what a huge journey, but I've been loving it this whole time.
So let's go back to where you're from. Were you born in Sudbury, Ontario? Did you move there? Like, where's your roots?
So I actually was born and raised in a small town called Kirkland Lake, which is a couple hours away from Sudbury. But the reason why now my family lives in Sudbury now is actually because of the mining industry. My dad ended up getting a job in Sudbury and in the mines back in the day. And I've been living here ever since then. And I decided to follow in my dad's footsteps into working in the mining industry as well.
That's interesting because the mining industry brought us to Canada, to Saskatchewan, where I live. And my dad worked in the mines, and I followed in his footsteps working in the mining industry. Like, I mean, I think people don't understand how huge mining is and how much work there is. It's never ending.
Absolutely. Like there is so much put into this process. Like throughout my career, I've worked at a bunch of different plants and I've officially seen the whole process of mining, especially in Greater Sudbury, because we are huge for mining. It's what we're known for. They call Sudbury like the big nickel city, stuff like
The big
that.
nickel,
So,
yeah.
so it's
Don't you have a
huge.
giant nickel outside of town or something like that?
Yeah, we do. It's a dynamic earth, and it's the big nickel right there. You can see it, but there's a lot of history to Sudbury about the mining, and I just find it incredibly interesting. Like since I was a little girl, I knew right away.
So what did your dad do? What was his job in the mines, and like what brought him to Sudbury?
So my dad started off as a miner back where I used to live in Larder Lake, Kirkland Lake area. But my dad he's a miner. So he started off mining, doing all the dirty work, all the blasting and all that process. But now he's currently a supervisor for his crew for like still mining. But he's the one who coordinates everything for his crew. He's there and make sure the job gets done safely, properly, take your time, stuff like that. But he's been doing that him too, like since 18. I think it was his first like real job underground was 18 as a miner.
And what kind of mine did he work in when you guys were up north?
So I believe where he worked was a gold mine. because if you go more north from Sudbury, like towards the Timmins area, I believe that they mine more gold out there. Because you got like Kirkland Lake Gold, you got Kidd Creek out in Timmins, which I also believe is a gold mine. So he's been mining for gold, but now in Sudbury, we specifically mine a bunch, like there's a bunch of ore here. It's all mixed in together, but we are looking specifically for nickel and copper, I believe.
Mhm.
Like that's what we're known for.
So when your dad brought the family down, you said you were already as a young girl, interested, and people may not necessarily think of that. I remember my dad coming home from the mine, black, like just, and that was already after a shower at the mine, like
Oh
just
yeah.
dirty, 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 and he'd be tired. He'd be doing 12 or 16-hour shifts, and
Yeah.
and I remember looking at him and thinking like how cool that must be, trying to imagine where he worked. And I don't know if people really think about that much. When you're coming home from an office job, your kids don't even know what you do. Like people like my friends don't even know what I do now. Like they have no
Yeah.
idea, right? But when you work in the trades, you could be like, I do this thing, I do that thing. Why
Yeah.
did that interest you as a young person?
Well, so believe it or not, okay, so I grew up on a farm. So I'm more of a farm girl. Like I just grew up dealing with animals and equipment, tractors, stuff like that. And I knew I wanted to work in the mines because like my dad, like he tells me stories, like really cool stories, and I always was super fascinated about it. Like I wanted to work underground. Like I even dressed up as a miner for Halloween when I was a kid. Like this is how bad I wanted this. But at the time though, I didn't know I wanted to be a mechanic. Like now, like I'm an industrial millwright mechanic. But at the time, I still wasn't sure if I wanted to be like a miner or just work in the mining industry. But like growing up on the farm and working on tractors and quads and all sorts of different equipment, I grew a passion for mechanics. So like when I went to high school, I had taken all of the shop classes that my high school had provided for us. We even, because we live in Sudbury where mining is big, they have this thing called a schism. And so my high school focused on mining. So if you wanted to go into mining, my high school would set you up, give you the courses you needed to proceed into the mining industry as like you graduated. So after taking all of those classes, like I had taken welding and I actually passed with the highest grade out of my whole class. And I was the only female in that class as well. Even mechanics, I did so good. Construction class, like I was working with doing woodwork. Even that I did really good in. And then there was physics I had to take to be millwright for in college. So I took physics and I didn't realize how much I loved physics. Just seeing how everything works,
Mhm.
like mechanically too, like because I had to build projects and make everything work mechanically.
Yeah.
And I just loved it so much. I actually passed again with the highest grade in my physics class, and I even got like a bursary for that.
Well,
But
once
it's
you
just
start
like,
understanding physics, the whole world starts to make sense in a different way.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now it's like, you expect something and you know how it works, or if even if you don't know what's going on, you can still make sense out of it.
Mhm. So obviously in high school, you already had it pinned in your mind. You're like, I'm going to get into some type of trade. Sounds like you tried a few different things and you liked it.
Yeah.
And, through the schism course, you were like gearing towards mining. But
Mhm.
the world of mining is vast. There's a bazillion jobs in mining. Right from being right at the underground drag lines to being up at the top on the repair side, structural, pipe, gas, pressure. I mean, there's everything, and plus there's the shutdowns that go down every season that for repair and maintenance. Like, I mean, it's never ending. And
Mhm.
even the companies around the mine that supply the mine with materials and construction, it's a whole ecosystem. How did you start to pinpoint what you wanted to do?
So, um, so when I went to college, I had chosen a couple of different courses that I was willing to take for my career. So Millwright was one, heavy duty mechanic was another one. I believe I had taken construction, but I I put a lot of thought into this. So if I say like maybe I went towards like heavy duty mechanic. So now I know that in Sudbury, most heavy duty mechanics that work in the mining industry are just strictly underground, where I wanted variety. So like I wanted to work at the smelter, I want to work underground. I want to work at the nickel refinery or at the mills we have around here. I just didn't want to get bored of my job because I do have to commit to this for the next like 30 some years.
Mhm.
So in college, I chose to do Millwright. That I ended up taking Millwright, and my first year, I'm not gonna lie, I did not enjoy my first year because I didn't know what I was signing myself up for.
Mhm.
But part of the program is to in between, so it's a 2-year course. In between your 2 years, you had to take a co-op. So it's because of that co-op I stuck with it, because now you're doing the work, like you're in the field, you're the mechanic, you're doing the work, and just seeing how it actually is, I knew for sure this is what I wanted to do for my career. Like I had to get the taste of it to
To like
convince me.
prove, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but once I did that, I ended up loving it, and my crews loved me. They didn't want me to leave, but I had to go back and finish my second year, right? So after that, I graduated with honors, and believe it or not, right away, I actually couldn't find an apprenticeship. I ended up working as a mine laborer for about a year and a half for a mining company called Technica. So it's a contracting company,
Mhm.
but I ended up working at Fraser Mine, which is one of the mines we have around here. And I was doing like dirty work, like they have like dust depression systems underground. So it was a lot of like water sprays, and like I had to program and install panels. I had to maintain the system for the whole mine. You have to, a lot of troubleshooting, ordering parts and just making sure that the mine doesn't get too dirty or too dusty, because at that point they would have to shut down production because it's
Mhm.
unsafe, right? So doing that for about a year and a half, I knew that I did not like, minor wasn't exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
But because of like the PLC programming, which was part of my Millwright course, I actually knew what to do when it came time for that for my contract job. But I did that for about a year and a half, and then afterwards, like Valet ended up giving me a call offering me a Millwright apprenticeship, and I obviously I said yes. I took the job. I did all the training I had to do, and I'm glad I did. Like the amount of equipment I've worked on in the past 3 years of my life is insane. Is insane. Like I can go a month without doing the same job twice, if not more.
Well, and mines are kind of a crazy mixing pot of equipment because even normal equipment gets modified to go to the mine. Even
Hmm.
a normal excavator has to get like mine ready with the extra
Yeah.
guards and the extra roof and the load bearing equipment and the extra panels. And Like everything kind of gets beefed up to go underground. And you know, between the welders and the maintenance and the millwrights, you know, that's kind of the teams that are in charge of that.
Hmm.
Because really everything is different and no two pieces of equipment are ever the same.
Oh
Uh,
no.
People kind of even modify stuff as they go
Yeah.
because it works. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah. So when you were in college, you know, let's go back to that. You said you graduated with honors. You did really well. Um, in this program, was there many females represented in this program? Were you kind of one of a few? You know, what was it like for the representation?
So at the time when I took the course, I want to say I think of there's about 5 or 6 females in the Millwright program, but once we graduated, I think maybe 3 of us actually got an apprenticeship and actually continued towards being like Red Seal Millwright. So
Hmm.
there's a couple of them, I guess they figured out it wasn't for them or just,
Yep.
but it was very few women in my course when I took it. But the women that I did meet are like, I still talk to them to this day. Like, it's just, those are amazing women, you know?
Yeah. Well, and any trade has an attrition rate. I know in welding they say anywhere from 4 to 6 of 12. So anywhere from 75 to 50% of a graduating class is not a welder 4 years later,
Hmm.
which kind of makes me sad because we need so many more tradespeople out there, and especially women and people of color. You know, we need them to stay and stick it out and ride it out. But I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Sometimes you go to school and you think you're going to do something and then you're not really. It doesn't really vibe with you, right?
Hmm.
Now, with you, you know, you get through the program. There's not a lot of women, but you're just kicking ass, right? You're kicking ass on the course. Did you get any pushback from anybody? Did you find any obstacles, or was it a pretty supporting program for you, like the other students and the instructors?
So the program itself was very, very supportive. Like my professors, man, like they had faith. They had faith. They would push us to our limits, but it's because they knew we can do it and they wanted to see us succeed. But when I did my co-op and I was actually in the field, that's when I kind of got a couple of obstacles, right? So, like, think about it. You're this 18-year-old um, little girl coming
Hmm.
into a mill where you have mechanics that have been working there for 20, 30 plus years, right? So I remember coming in, they were super happy to have me on the crew, but there was also a couple of them that didn't like the idea of it either.
Hmm.
Like it had came to a point where, so you're like a co-op student at this point, and you're trying to prove yourself, and you're trying to, get on everybody's good side and to show them that you want this, you have passion for it. Well, I would go up to a couple of coworkers and offer my help. Hey man, like I see you're not done your job. Did you want a hand? I'll help you out. Maybe you can show me a couple things too while you're at it.
Hmm.
And honestly, sometimes it was just, no, I don't want your help. And I'm like, Kate, I respect that. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll go do something else. No problem.
yeah. They're probably grumpy to everybody, not just you. So,
But you know what? Those specific people, like I ended up winning them over at the end of my co-op. When it was time to go back to college there, they actually came up to me and was like, you know what? You're not that bad, Jess. You're pretty good. I'm like, thanks, man. Like,
you know, sometimes in my experience at the companies I've worked for, the grumpy Gus's, you know, like those, everyone's like, oh, don't go talk to that guy. He's just a grumpy old man. They end up being like my BFFs at work, you
yeah,
know, because maybe that says something about me. Maybe that says something about maybe I'm a jerk and I don't know it, but I always get along with them. It's like It's like once I
Yeah.
find out that they don't want to talk to me, it's like I try even harder to be their friend or something. Like
You have to kill them with kindness. That's what I figured out. You kill them with kindness and it works.
yeah.
It works.
So you do your co-op, you do your other year of school, and then you're back out there. You go contract for a little while. Now, contracting is always its own thing, but like you said, you learned how to program PLCs, so that's a big part of it. And maybe let's talk a little bit about that. You know, like in terms of being a millwright. You know, you said you're on the verge of being a mechanic, thinking about being a mechanic. The type of work in your area kind of led you away from that, but a millwright to many people is a mechanic. You know, like
Mhm.
that's what a millwright is. So what is different about a millwright than say a heavy duty mechanic? What are the small differences, or what does a millwright do that a mechanic wouldn't?
Okay, so there's two types of millwrights. You can have industrial or construction. I'm industrial millwright. So the difference between they call them IMs, okay? So the difference
Sure.
between an IM and a heavy duty mechanic is that heavy duty mechanics are specifically always working on the scoops or the haulage trucks or the jeeps or trucks that we drive underground,
Mhm.
where an IM, like myself, I take care of the crushers underground, the conveyor belts underground, the chutes, all the hydraulic cylinders. We have the sand plant that has like piping and valves everywhere. Um, all the tanks, all the pumps underground, I maintain. Um, and there's like so many different types of pumps. There's gearboxes that we install or swap out or repair. Um, it's just like all the other mechanical stuff. So, like, for example, a heavy duty mechanic in the mining industry is mostly strictly underground, where now, like, I've worked underground. I've been underground for 3 years, but now, like, I had moved on to the smelter where it's total different ball game. Now you
Mhm.
have like different types of conveyors. You got like drag conveyors, screw conveyors, belt conveyors. There's even some conveyors that are made out of cloth. And when you put the feed is like not finished product, but it's like concentrated nickel, I guess you
Mhm.
would say. So it's a conveyor where it sucks out all the water and moisture through that cloth belt,
Mhm.
I guess you would say. And like I work on vacuums, I've worked on, oh my goodness, like the whole plant. Like I went at mat processing at the smelter, which is a lot of like there's mills there, there's a ton of conveyors, there's
Mhm.
cyclones, there's cyclopacks, pumps, like piping work. Like I lay out pipe as well, install like new pipes for the water lines or whatever they need. um just stuff like that. And then I went to the furnaces. Have you ever heard of the super stack in Sudbury?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay, so the furnace is right there. Like I'm at the furnace for the super stack. We don't use it anymore, but it's that idea.
Yeah.
But so even at the furnace, so I'm still at the smelter complex, but I'm at a different plant now. So when I moved there, it's like different ball games. So now you have to take care of the furnace. There's tap guns, there's skim guns, there's HVACs, there's exhaust fans, like you name it, man. Like anything that's not like a vehicle is what I
Yeah.
work on. Is what I work on. Like even like when I was in the mines, like even the shaft, I was in the shaft, like maintaining the skips and the
Yeah.
cage, and just that's what we would take care of. But now I'm at the nickel refinery here in Sudbury. I haven't officially started yet. I'm actually on holidays. Like I just swapped over. But even there, still, I've been at it for 5, 6 years, and now I'm about to walk into equipment I've never seen yet. It's
Hmm.
just, it depends on where you go. It's different equipment. So that's why there's so much variety, and the apprenticeship is so long. But technically though, like that's what the difference is between heavy duty and a millwright.
Yeah, like I worked in a mine maintenance shop for years, which was a lot of millwrights and in there because you're doing hydraulics, you're doing cylinder work, you're doing conveyors. And I had a millwright say to me once, if it spins, moves, pushes, or pulls, that's a millwright. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, and it's like okay, and like so much of like so I worked in a steel mill because we have so many mines here in Saskatchewan. We have a mill, and at the time it was called IPSCO, now it's called Evra, a big steel mill, and I spent like 8 years doing maintenance work for the steel side, and learned almost every part of that mill, like front to back. Right from the furnace to the smelter to where it rolled it out. It was called the 2 high and the 4 high, where it stretched it out. All this amazing stuff. And then, like my 8th year there, they were like, "Okay, well, we're gonna send you to this other job, to the plate side or to the pipe side." And I was like, "Pipe side?" I'm thinking it's like somewhere so far away. It's like literally the other side of the yard I'd never been to. That's a whole other facility. Like it was
Oh
like
yeah.
it's like, oh man, I gotta learn all this, but it was actually way cleaner. So I was like, this looks
Not
way
bad.
easier over here. Yeah, I like this cleaner side better than the plate side, which is kind
Yeah.
of like greasy and gross, and it was built in the 30s. But I mean,
Oh
but you know, the the battle is to keep things running, right? And preventative maintenance is such a huge part of a millwright's job. It's not
oh
about
yeah.
fixing it once it's broken. That's already too late. Like you want to be able to catch things when they just start to go. Like I remember watching millwrights line up shafts and trying to get things within like a thousandth of an inch, because it would be like if this thing is 3 thousandths or 5 thousandths of an inch, by next year it's going to be broken. Like the whole thing
Yep.
and it'll destroy the gears, it'll wreck this whole thing.
Oh
Like so
yeah.
that and these things are like 8, 10,000 horsepower electric motors that are massive, and really admiring the type of work. Plus, you're not like in a optimal place. You're like on your back or in
Oh
grease
yeah.
or like lying under dirt and rock, and you're
Oh
trying to
yeah.
do all this stuff, right? So you love this stuff. It sounds like you love it.
I really do. I really have a strong passion for it. Like I
So
love my job.
so how far are you now from your red seal? You said you've been at it about 5, 6 years. The apprenticeship for millwrights 4 years typically. So whereabouts are you? You got to be getting pretty close here.
Oh yes, I'm very, very close. So what happened was, when I was a mine laborer, like that didn't count towards
At
my
all? No.
apprenticeship at all. So, but I still needed the experience. But to this day, though, I'm about 5 months away from writing my red seal. I'm like almost there. Few
Have
more
you
hours.
started studying? Have you started studying?
Oh yeah, hardcore. Like we have a little study group because I work with just a couple other female millwright apprentices around here.
Hmm.
So we actually have a little study group that we do together. So like we can all prepare together, go into it together, hopefully all pass together. It's a beautiful thing, honestly.
That sounds awesome. And I've always found it way better for anybody going for a red seal in any trade to find a study group, find some people and study with them.
Hmm.
Studying alone is hard.
It
It's
is.
really hard. And sometimes somebody else will not understand something and you do. And then you explain it to them and they get it where they never would have gotten it without the book, or
Exactly.
without your help. And vice versa. Something you don't get, they might, right? So,
Yes. Absolutely. No, it's amazing because yeah, like people maybe they can explain it in an easier way for you to see it, visualize it a bit better. Because me too, like I'm super, super, super hands-on when it comes to books, not my strong suit. But if I have somebody, if I have somebody who can explain to me a little bit more into depth what this book is talking about, then oh, okay, yeah, I get it now because I can put two and two together.
yeah. Now, once you get that red seal, What's that going to mean for you professionally? Like, what happens then?
So I will become a fully licensed millwright mechanic. So I believe that means I could work anywhere. I don't know if it's the province or if it's the country, but like I will be fully certified. That means I can go get a job anywhere that has like a
Yeah, yeah.
millwright
If it
position.
if it's a red seal, it'll be the country. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
If not the world, because red seals, Canadian red seals are accepted in lots of countries.
nice. So yeah, that's basically like, and then like, you'll be making like full wage, and um you get more opportunities. And like the thing with my company too, it's really nice because like you can grow with my company. Like if you don't want to be on the tools after say 25 years and you're all beat up or whatever, you can go staff and like
Hmm.
say I can be a supervisor for the millwrights.
Yeah.
Because like I know what I'm looking at, I know what I'm talking about, I know like, so like there's room for improvement or growth within my company, which I'm really really happy about.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break right now for our sponsors. And when we get back, Jessica, I'd like to talk to you about, the things that you're involved with in terms of, maybe outside of work and like what you feel about the trades in general. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned here on the CWB Association podcast with Jessica Duquette. We'll be right back.
The CWB Association is new and improved and focused on you. We offer a free membership with lots of benefits to anyone interested in joining an association that is passionate about welding. We are committed to educating, informing, and connecting our workforce. Gain access to your free digital publication of the Weld magazine, free online training, conferences, and lots of giveaways. Reach out to your local CWB Association chapter today to connect with other welding professionals and share welding as a trade in your community. Build your career, stay informed, and support the Canadian welding industry. Join today and learn more at cwbassociation.org.
And we're back here on the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron. Thanks for staying with us during this wonderful interview with Jessica here, who is a millwright mechanic, industrial mechanic in Sudbury, Ontario, the Big Nickel. That's what she said. And nickel is such a valuable asset in the world right now. They were shutting down nickel mines for a while, and now it's full on, full go. How's the work at your nickel mine? Is it busy?
Yes, we in Sudbury we have quite a few mines actually.
Hmm.
Between like Valley and Glencore, there's quite a few around here, but yeah, they're all like full production, getting the ore out of underground, brought to the smelter to be processed, and then to the nickel refinery where we make it that 99% nickel, where like what we need for well, all those Tesla
Hmm.
batteries.
Batteries, yeah.
So we actually do have a contract with them, and we are providing them our nickel that we refined at the nickel refinery.
So, I've worked on a bunch of different mines, including gold mines, and I've never been on a nickel mine. So, are they solution mines? Are they drag mines? Are they open pit mines? What's the process for getting the nickel out of the ground?
So, okay, so where I have been, it's so we need to take a shaft, like a cage, to go underground.
Mhm.
So what the process is that we start blasting. So I guess like they have like their people, they come and assess like where they believe the ore is, and they start mining towards that area. So like I can be underground, I can be driving, and I can see veins of ore in the rock.
Mhm.
So what they do is they mine towards the ore body, and they think they do it in like 3 levels. So you have your ore body, and then they'll start. I don't know if it's like work your way from the top down or bottom up, but either way, they have to blast in a certain way
Yeah.
so it's safe. But when they pull that out, You have a scoop that comes and picks out all the ore, dumps it into a haulage truck. The haulage truck dumps it down a chute, and the chutes, we have grizzlies, which have like rock breakers. So we break them down into smaller chunks, and then so they send it to the bottom of the mine. They use gravity for all the chutes. When it gets to the bottom, we have a crusher down there, which crushes them to even smaller pieces. So once it gets to the size that they want, it gets sent by conveyor belt to the pocket underground. And that's where the pocket dumps, it's another conveyor, and it dumps the ore into our skips, which is basically a cage for underground, but it's made specifically for ore. So then we take the ore from underground, bring it to surface, and then we ship the ore out to the smelter. We smelt the ore that is provided. And to get to that, like to separate all the different minerals and ores that we have to smelt it. I believe it's 2,700 degrees Celsius the furnace gets to. And that will separate, all the garbage will float to the top, and then all the nickel will settle to the bottom because they have different melting points. So they'll skim off the top, and then they'll pour out the molten matte, is what they call it. Then it gets brought to our converters where they test our samples, and they have to reach, I guess, a certain percentage of nickel or a certain percentage of copper,
Purity,
or whatever
yeah.
they're looking for. And then once that's done, it's sent to casting, which is where they dump these ladles of molten matte into casts, and then they wait for it to cool down, and it looks like big bricks of nickel. But and then that goes through a process at matte processing where they mill this, and they again break it down into smaller pellets. But now it's like almost pure nickel at this point. So it goes through matte processing, and then it's shipped off to the nickel refinery, which I'm not fully sure about the process yet because I just started there. But I do believe that so what they do is they introduce carbon monoxide into the nickel some way, somehow, and it creates a gas called carbonyl or nickel carbonyl. Super, super toxic. Like we have to wear like hazmat suits and everything to go and work on this equipment. But during that process, that's what makes it the like 99% nickel or whatever like we're trying to reach. So it's a massive process, and I've officially seen it all, but it's a lot of work.
I wanted to ask you that question because as a millwright, I knew that you would have a pretty good idea of the whole start to finish. Because I'll tell you what, like as a welder myself, it's really hard to know the whole process of anything you do, because when you're a welder, you just weld on components, pieces, parts, jobs, and you're in and you're out, right? Like even at the mill or at anywhere, like I'm working on this conveyor, then I'm out. I don't really know what it hooks up to or where it comes from or where it's going. I just know that this is the thing I got to work on, or that this is the thing I got to work on here, or this is the thing I'm building. Millwrights tend to have a better understanding of like the whole process because they kind of have to. They kind of have to know, like, well, this connects to this, and this goes to there, and then that goes to that, in order to understand where there could be problems or how it could be fixed, right?
Absolutely. You need to know how to troubleshoot your systems.
So once you get this red seal and you're starting in the new side now, what's next? Are you looking to, like, is there more education millwrights can get after your red seal? Or I know lots of other people like myself, we've gotten 2 red seals. Is that something that you've thought about or are interested in?
So, funny you say that. I actually just completed um a welding course like through work. I'm a CWB certified all position stick welder as of last month. So that's something that work provided for me. Well, you have to want it. Like I basically harassed them for this, but it's because like I do lots of fabricating as well, right? Or when it comes to like welding like guardrails or just guards, like now you're interfering with people's safety, people's lives. You need
Mhm.
to know what you're doing. So I got the course. It was a month long and they showed you all the positions and all the theory about it, and I just completed it maybe a week ago. So I'm
Where did you take this course?
so they offered it at Cambrian College, which is actually where I graduated from my Millwright course. So I went back to school for about a month and they had their professors teach us for a month, and it was strictly just welding. Like you weld all day, every day until test day. Then you do your test, pass, get your tickets.
And is that course offered all the time? Like I just visited Cambrian College, their grand opening for the Jill of all trades, and it was huge. It was huge. It was mind blowing, that college. Like, I mean, I couldn't believe how big it was. So, you know, just seeing the number of women there and the girls that were coming through and the welding labs and all this cool stuff that's going on. You went to school there. What's it like going to a school like that?
Absolutely amazing, honestly. Like when I graduated, I was so freaking proud of myself. Like I was so proud because um not gonna say like other colleges are garbage, but my college took this seriously. Like we had like a whole conveyor system outside, and during our millwright course, you have to take it all apart and put it all back together, and like rain or shine, snowstorm or not, like, and unfortunately I had that course right in the middle of winter. So I was outside in ski pants, like I was so dressed up, and you have to take all of that apart and then put it back together before your semester ended. But another thing too, you had mentioned the Jill of all trades.
Hmm.
So I find those wonderful. Actually, they reached out to me about a week ago and they asked me to be the opening ceremony guest speaker for the 2023 Jill of all trades event that's coming up for them. So I'm so excited for that too. Like I do want to encourage more women in the trades, not just women, like kids. I want to encourage kids.
Yeah,
We need both. We need everyone.
we need
It's
everyone. Yeah.
we need everyone. But I really hope that like the passion I have for this will convince them, honestly, because of Cambrian, like I am where I am today.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so much in school where like you go into the real world and you're like, oh, I learned about that in college, like the professors there are unreal, like so smart that I didn't even understand how smart. Like, oh, they'd just be talking and it's like, you lost me like 10 minutes ago. Like, but like they're so good though. Like they know what they're talking about. Like, and they're so supportive too. Like, not
Hmm.
once I felt like an idiot at work or at school. Like, no, they're like, you got this. You just take your time, maybe look at it in a different way, like try to troubleshoot, and they were always there. If I had questions, they were there. They supported me. Like it was amazing experience I had for college.
And then what about, like, let's talk more about the Jill of all trades. Like you said, they're going to, be you're going to be speaking at an event. Which event is it that's coming up that you're going to be at?
So in October, I forget what day specifically, but in October they are hosting, I think it's the third annual Jill of all trades event where they
Mhm.
get high school students, high school girls to come to Cambrian. And so I will be,
Is this gonna be like a giant one like they just did for the grand opening?
I don't know if
Because
it's
because the one I was at was huge.
because, like, I know we have shop classes. Like, after I'm done with the opening ceremony speech, I will be attending shops, specifically, like, I'm going to try to get into the Millwright shops, but, like,
Mhm.
so all these high school students go to all the different shops that Cambrian offers,
Yeah,
and
and
they get to go test it out. Like, this year, I believe that they even have like a scoop that they can go and try and operate, see if
really,
they like
wow.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's so neat, the stuff they have there. Um, like, we'll be showing how, like, hydraulics, pneumatics, like, we have little, like, trainer boards where you got to plug everything in, and then you plug it into a source, and then you see if it works or not. So
Mhm.
there'll be a lot of that.
Little
um
baby PLCs.
yeah,
Yeah.
but, like, I went to the one last year, but I was just in the shop classes. Like, I wasn't the
Speaker.
opening, yeah.
You weren't Miss Fancy Pants like at this next one?
No. No, but it was so nice though.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's
it was
awesome.
so
You should
nice.
you should be really proud.
I am. Thank you.
And what about work wise? What's your dream for the future? You talked about, maybe someday being a supervisor. Do you see yourself working underground for a long time? Like, I mean, it does beat up your body. It's tough. It's tough living under there at a mine. So
Oh yeah.
where do you see yourself in 10, 15 years?
So I would like to at least get my 30 years with the company on the tools, but I do plan on moving up, like, say, to a supervisor. I do plan on that, but my end goal is to probably be a professor for millwrights at Cambrian. Like,
That's good. We need
I
we need more teachers badly.
yeah, and I keep hearing that, and
Hmm.
I truly believe that I would like to finish off my career by teaching what I've learned in the past career, right?
Hmm.
Because I don't know, I have such a passion for it. Like, I literally don't stop talking about it.
Well, amongst tradespeople, it's easy to talk about your trade all day.
Oh
It
yeah.
just gets boring when you're not a tradesperson. Like,
Yeah,
they
you
don't
don't
care. They don't know what the hell you're
exactly.
talking about.
No,
Like,
exactly. You know what's up.
it's like you'll run into somebody you see like from a job or something at like Superstore, and you'll talk for an hour, and just like
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think that would be my end goal. I think
Do
that
you
would
want?
be satisfied with that.
Well, you're doing the Jill of all trades. You're doing the podcast with me. You're getting yourself out there. Is this kind of the stuff you see yourself doing going forward? Do you want to be more of an advocate?
I think so. Yeah, honestly. Um, I just I love teaching people, like, and being excited about it. That's the thing though. Like, I get so excited to explain something to somebody. Like, I've even had I had one of the supervisor's daughters shadow me at work because she was stuck in between millwright or heavy duty mechanic, and I think she had something else on her list, but millwright was at the bottom of her list, okay? And then
Hmm.
she followed me for a couple of hours, and I brought her to the plant. I showed her everything I knew about it, but I was passionate about it. I was excited about it. And she told me that millwright went from the bottom of her list to the top of her list. And I think that's what she's going to school for, is millwright.
Ah,
So
dang! You should have sent her to us, and we could have turned her into a welder. God
no,
dang it!
no, no. But if she does, though, she can be welder. Like, I have I'm a stick welder, I guess
Yeah,
now. Like,
yeah,
so there is potential for that. There's like opportunities for that. That's what I like about Millwright. It's just you do everything.
yeah. Look, my friend who makes the most money of all my friends is a Red Seal welder, Red Seal millwright, and
Hmm.
they just clean up, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good for him though.
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, you there's no stopping in the trades. There's no everything kind of adds, like every skill adds, right? And the
Hmm.
jobs you work at. Like I worked at some really shady places that down the road, I'm glad I worked there because they taught me some things that I 10 years later became so valuable to me. When someone is like, "Hey, does someone know how to do this?" It's like, "Yeah, actually I do. I do know how to do that," you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like that's one thing I do enjoy about the ballet apprenticeship is that they move you around. Like in total with my career, like ballet and the other companies I've worked for, I'm on my sixth plant now.
Yeah.
Since 2019, I've been at my six plants, and every plant is something different. You meet new people who show you different tricks and tips, and like you retain so much everywhere you go.
Mhm.
So
You
I
do.
like how they give you exposure to everything.
And it's an interesting thing because Valley's out here in the West too. Like they're all over the place, and they're out here doing.
Hmm.
They're involved in agriculture out here and mining support, and sometimes people don't like the big companies. I get it. I get that people are like, the big companies are cutthroat. Maybe don't pay as much as other private companies or smaller companies, whatever. But there is something to be said about big companies and the experience you can gain from them because they have so much work, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting to the end of the interview here. I got a couple questions to kind of wrap it up, but just want to see your take on these. But this has been a great conversation. Um, First of all, you talked about being enthusiastic with kids and youth, and from your side of the coin, from like in your opinion, what do you see as something that we should be doing when we talk to young kids or maybe to teachers or to parents? What is it that we're missing? What are we not doing good enough to get, young people interested in the trades?
Okay, so definitely talk about it more. Like when I went to go choose for this stuff, like in 2017, 2018, like nobody came up to me and was like, oh, try the Jill of all trades event. Like there was none of that back when I was picking
Hmm.
this. So I wish I would have had that though, because it would have got me more familiar with what to expect and the responsibilities and roles that you'll potentially be doing later on in life. Like I'm telling you right now, when I signed up for Millwright, I had no idea that I would have had to work in a hazmat suit with on breathing air. You know what I mean? I never thought I would have had to operate a 75-ton crane with a remote control that's like the size of my head. I
Hmm.
didn't know this. So I truly believe that maybe, like drill it into their heads, I think. Like maybe not like too much, but talk about it more because there's so many options. There's so much to it. It's endless. Like I wish I would have had this in high school where we have other trades people come in, explain what they do, how they like their job, what they needed to do to get to where they are today. Like I wish I had that. I wish I would have been able to shadow somebody for the day um, to see what it is like. I had no
Yeah.
idea, right? I just signed up for it, and now look at it. Not gonna
Well,
back out.
and you had a very good, I guess, precursor because your dad was involved in the trades. So I'd
Yes.
imagine that it would be really tough for a parent. Like, let's pretend I'm a banker and and my dad was a banker and we're all bankers, but bankers don't make very good money, and my kids are thinking about something to do. I don't know if I'd be able to talk to them about the trades. Like, what do I know? Right? And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's a big obstacle for a lot of people. It's like, even if I wanted to talk about trades, I don't know what they are or what they mean or what it takes. I was
Yeah.
talking to a lady when I was camping last week, and she was a couple sites down, and she had a 18-year-old kid just graduated high school, and she said that he was working for this construction place in the summer, and that he really liked it, and that he just built a doghouse at home or something like that. And I was like, well, he should enroll into school and get his red seal, like start his journey to become a construction. And she's like, there's school for construction?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
no idea. And like, I mean, why would she know, right? Like, I get
Yeah.
like people just don't know, and it's like, how do we fix that? How do we get that information? Like, I think TV, I think movies, I think there should be commercials on TV being like, be a welder, be a millwright, be an electrician, because we have
Mm-hmm.
commercials on TV about be a doctor and be a dentist. Like, what about all this other stuff, that we
Yeah.
need?
And like the thing is, yeah, absolutely. Like not everybody knows about trades or what to even say about it. Like that's what I mean. Like maybe have more events, like more Jill of
Hmm.
all trades, but maybe not just for girls, like for everybody. If
Jack
you're
and Jill of all
interested,
trades. Yeah.
exactly, like, and it's totally something like we can make happen. Like I just truly believe, like, especially in school, you're in school because they're trying to get you ready for your future, for your career. That's the time to introduce all this stuff to them.
Hmm.
That's the time where they should start experimenting different shops, seeing what they like. I liked welding. I liked mechanics. I liked construction. I did not want to do construction forever, but I'm glad I took that class because now I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think people need to talk about it more. And not just that, like people think it's scary. It's not that bad. It's not that scary. Yeah, it's different than surface. Like surface is different from underground, but it's not that bad. Like we're safe about it. Like it's not like back in the day there where, like it's almost guarantee you're gonna pass away. But no, like it's so safe. There's so much technology now. Like there's
Yeah.
just so much to it. There's so much variety. Like you can go anywhere. Like I don't have to be in the mining industry. I can work for the city if I wanted to. You know what I mean? We have
Yeah.
pumps and stuff for our sewers. Like, and I like, yeah, people need to talk about it more because I didn't hear anything growing up. I just knew
Hmm.
because of my dad, and I'm thankful for that. But like there's pros and cons to it, but there's pros and cons to everything though. Like
Everything. Yeah.
to everything, like, and I truly believe taking a trade or like a skilled trade, like there's more pros than cons, like
100%.
100%. And it's the best decision I've ever made in my life was to go into a skilled trade. I regret nothing. I have absolutely zero regrets.
Hmm.
Like I'm just so happy with the outcome of everything and how it worked out. Like, and I wish that upon everybody. I hope
Yeah.
everybody could be this happy with their
Yeah.
career,
Yeah.
like
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Okay. And last question.
okay.
If you go back in time, right? If you can get in a time machine and get in front of your, just graduated 17 or 18-year-old self, just like the day after grad when you're waking up and you pop up in front of yourself in your bedroom, what advice would you give yourself for your career knowing what you know now?
So my advice to everybody out there is to never show weakness. I find that you show weakness, people will continue to bug you or pick on you. Like by staying strong and firm and saying like, yes, I can do this. I can take on this job, prove it to yourself, prove it to them, never show weakness. And like also like you can't please everybody. You cannot. You are working against the whole plant, the whole mine. You do what you have to do. Take your time. Do it safely. Don't let everybody else get to you, because it's never going to end. Just never show weakness. Go in there, be strong, be proud, be passionate is what I would have to tell everybody.
That's good advice. And people might take that as like never show weakness, being like, well, be mean or be rude, or no, it's a different thing.
No.
You just be confident. You just do it.
Yes.
And if you make mistakes, you make mistakes. That's not a sign of weakness. It's
Making
normal. It's
mistakes is part of the learning process.
yeah.
Don't think I've made plenty of mistakes, but I've learned from them, and I know now not to do them ever again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just part of the process.
Yeah. Well, I love it, Jessica, and it's good advice, and I love what you've said here on the podcast. Is there any shout outs or hellos or highs you want to send out to anybody?
I definitely would like to say thank you to Cambrian College for my success in life right now. Like, it's because of that college that I am so supported in the industry right now. I would like to say thank you to my parents as well, like especially my mom and my dad, who were there right from the beginning, who had faith in me. And one last person I would like to say hi and thank you to would be Kendra Linema. I believe you just did a podcast with her.
Mm-hmm.
But meeting her and working with her in the mining industry opened my eyes big time. Like, I see stuff differently now because of her, and so thankful for her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She really is. It's because of her that I'm doing so good at this stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica, for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be on this podcast with you today.
Cool. And for all the people that have been following, make sure you continue to download, share, and comment on our podcast. We want to hear what you got to say. We want to hear recommendations for guests. We want to hear ideas for shows. We're getting ready, gearing up for FabTech in September in Chicago. We'll be there. We'll have a booth. We're working together with Arc Junkies on a podcast booth. So we got some really cool stuff lined up for FabTech. Also, we have CanWeld in Moncton, New Brunswick in October 17th, 18th, 19th. We'll be out there. So, if you want to check out the East Coast, we're going to be taking the show on the road to Moncton, New Brunswick. Come out and check us out. We're going to have speakers. We're going to have shows. We're going to have tours of the college. We're going to have lots of cool stuff going on. So we're busy. Always check out our websites. We got free courses running online right now and all the stuff that comes with membership with the association. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed the show.